Ew. This is Cats, the Catster. This is a brief review of Mandalorian. I think. What is this episode? 6. I think it's 6. It's the one where from the desert comes a stranger. Very cowpoke like. So we have about half of it is about half of it is actually it's sort of not a flashback, but the whole series is a flashback. The story is set on the Jedi training planet. They're building the academy on the Jedi training planet. There's a CG-faced Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill, obviously somebody else with playing him with him doing the voiceover. It looks a little uncanny at places, but from a distance it's a little better. It's clearly some other actor, and he rotoscoped his face onto it. I don't know. I don't know if he gets. I hope he gets credit somewhere. The Mandalorian tries to deliver the package. It's a little chainmail shirt. It's made out of Mandalorian armor to Groot, I guess, the Baby Yoda guy, and then there's then Osaka shows up, and she's got to be really ancient, but so is Yoda, I guess. She's played by Rosario Dawson again, who shows up. It's clearly meant to be a spin-off. They're going to do an Osaka series. I don't know how they're going to pull that off, but well, I did this one, I guess. So, but she basically stops the Mandalorian from actually directly contacting him because it would throw off the training. He's like a ninja now. He's going to be training, no attachments to other people or whatever. There's a scene where they're using the remote scene, the training remote, and there's a scene with a lightsaber like test scene. There's a scene where they're lifting frogs out of the water. He tries to lift a frog while Luke's meditating. That's the earlier scene. And then Luke lifts up a bunch of frogs out of the lake. I don't know what planet they're on. It could be Dagobah, I guess. Maybe. Didn't say. Dave Filoni directed it. There's a guy that looks a lot like Scott from the church who's playing the marshal. It's not, but in it, which is funny. There's a marshal who was one of the Mandalorians from the Mandalorian. So about half of this is the Mandalorian part, season 3. I guess what's left of season 3 got incorporated into Boba Fett because they had to let go of one of the actors from the season 2. So they just said, "Oh, let's just use the pieces we filmed and put them in the Boba Fett story." Yeah, that's what they did. There was another channel, Eckerd's Ladder Star Wars channel, where he was speculating on what all the Sand People origin stuff meant and how that ended and how all the other stuff they're throwing in. And each episode they keep subverting expectations and killing off characters. I won't give away who lives or dies, but Gruit survives. I will say that he doesn't get killed. Yeah, that Luke survives, of course. This is like before, I guess, before he began training Kylo Ren, Ben Kenobi, Ben Solo. It's before that, by several years. It's supposed to be set 5 years after Return of the Jedi. It's about a year after the second season of Mandalorian. So all that other stuff that happened when he was when Boba Fett was in the tank, recovering, what I suggested on the Eckerd's Ladder channel is that all of that stuff you saw where he was in the tank could be misinterpreted by his mind because he's dreaming parts of it. Mark's cards would agree with this. We're talking about Total Recall, something else over the phone, but the idea that they kept cutting back to Boba Fett, seeing these visions like long after they happened. And then waking up we don't know when exactly he was rescued by the Sand People. We don't know if he dreamt it. We don't know even how he really rescued the lady. It may all be his mind playing tricks. Maybe different things happen. But clearly the evil syndicate guys are real because they're in the present doing stuff, so they're clearly real. Mandalorian coming to visit him is clearly real, but I suspect that all the other earlier stuff where he goes on a vision quest and all that is part of whatever his mind was recovering from being healed in the tank. That would be every once in a while he'd go in a tank. Say Boba Fett would go in a tank. I suspect that footage is circumspect. He's an eyewitness to something that happened to him traumatically. He's gonna see different things than actually happen. So we aren't supposed to take the Sand People quest literally. We aren't supposed to take the Sand People getting killed literally. Probably what really happened is he came upon a dead sand person village after they revived him, so it was similar. And it wasn't as dramatic because his mind did other stuff. And when he came across the lady, it probably wasn't as dramatic to show the bored people fixing them up, the Cillians, whatever they call them in this version. There is a scene where they blow up the tavern. They blow up the tavern. The bad guys. And also, he was wondering if the space cops in the story, why they wouldn't just go and fight off the lawless trade guys down on the planet, the Pike, Captain Pike people, and Calcat comment on the commentary of Ecker's Ladder was, well, the previous episode they pulled over Mando for speeding, and his speeder spaceship thing, his Naboo starfighter that he rebuilt, and I was thinking, like, well, it would be akin to an Old West story where the sheriff pulls over a do-gooder. He's walking along on a horse, riding along on a horse, and he's riding along on a horse, or they're walking. And yeah, he doesn't have any jurisdiction to go after all the outlaws that are in town. He can only go after the outlaws that are, in his jurisdiction. He can't. So if there's these other rustlers that are making trouble, it's like, what's he gonna do? Go to the state marshals and have them march in with the army and they get the bad guys? Well, thinking like in the Star Wars universe where it's supposed to be kind of a Western, they probably are trying to be Star Trek, which is funny. That they wouldn't be able to do that. That the New Republic is strapped for men and firepower and all that, and that they can't just go to every planet and police it and put down a standing military and say, okay, go in and beat up the bad guys, because they're not that big. It's sort of like if maybe they're making an allegory for the nation building, quote unquote, of the last 20 years in the Arab states, and they're saying like, oh, it's like that. It's like they can't like police all of Iraq and Afghanistan. They'd have to let their own people do it because there's no way they could just keep holding on to that kind of territory. Wouldn't make sense. So yeah, it doesn't make sense that the space cops. I mean, the space cops could tell the Republic army in the story, well, yeah, there's bad guys down there in the Pike and they're in the pad. Go beat them up. But what would they really be able to do? Sort of saying, well, let's send an army in there, blow up the space robots army. I don't think they would. For a backwater, Tatooine is sort of a backwater town, it's a city kind of place. It's a backwater place, middle of nowhere. They're not going to just send the elites over there to deal with this lawless planet. They wouldn't do that. Why would they? Nor could they do that. So yeah, it's not a plot hole. You said it was a plot hole. It's not a plot hole. It's just that they couldn't do it. It would be like the Highway Patrol being asked to go after bad guys after catching a speeder. It's like the whole Highway Patrol, all of them. No, that's not gonna happen. They call the National Guard, I guess, and they could go and deal with the bad guys. Yeah, but yeah, the two Highway Patrol guy pulling over a speeding bad guy is not going to be able to do anything other than pull over the speeding bad guy. The whole police department of that town pulls him over. In the Highway Patrol would be the whole, yeah, that's more like what it is. Also, I think the space cop scene was also, well, not a space cop, obviously, but it was also it was also supposed to represent, like, they were guarding the ship, the cruiser. They were guarding the passenger liner. They might have even been like, they said they were Tatooine though, so they said they were, yeah, like the security force basically, the mall cops, up in there in space guarding the ship. So they guard the stations of the ship and in space. They probably don't control anything down on the planet surface. Because you think if they could, then they could just like, oh, here's the evil Spicer ship. We'll blow it up. And just, like, impound the ship before it takes off. They didn't do that. So in this version, it was half of it was Mandalorian, more of the Mandalorian. It's kind of meta. There's two or three of them, because the sheriff guy is supposed to be another Mandalorian that took up his armor. So they're kind of implying that like they were like hired gun guys. It's interesting that the original Boba Fett was only really around for about 6 or 7 minutes in the original movies. Everybody like built up this massive mythos. So this guy was about 6 or 7 minutes on camera. Didn't do much. He captured Han Solo and put him in carbonite, and then he got thrown into a sand vagina. Now in this version, he rescued himself from the sand vagina, and that was slightly different than the other. That's how it led me to believe that the stuff he's encountering in the tank, when he's in the tank, is and that's over at this point, is him repairing himself. So he remembered it differently than it happened, because clearly in the Mandalorian season 2. They don't show him having escaped from it, but he already did, and the other guy helped him. It's different from what happened, because it was a dead stormtrooper who grabbed his flamethrower in this version, went and got himself out. His mind is playing tricks. And as his mind is recovering from playing tricks, he's seeing different facets of that story, of that trauma, be destroyed or killed. So yeah, there's a theory on that one. Yeah, so you get to see a CGI Luke acting like Luke Skywalker. The choice of be the Jedi or take the chainmail shirt. That probably won't fit him after a while anyway. So, so can't he do both? No. Yeah, he could be like he could be they have Jedi that are half Jedi. He could be a half Jedi. Foundling. By the way, product placement. Yeah. Product placement. I have a Groot. See him? He's cute. Sell out. Actually, this is from a year ago. It's not product placement. No, Disney is not giving me... No. Have a Groot. Have a Groot. The child. I should have reviewed it. Anyway. I've been back to the box. Anyway, so... Groot. Anyway. Anyway, so yeah. So whatever.